welcome back to Good Evening. It's time for When Monet Meets Debussy, a part of the show where we get a chance to look at interesting artwork from the great artists of the past. And to guide us on this tour, Christine has joined us in the studio. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Are you feeling the summer heat already?
Oh, definitely. I would be lying if I said I didn't. You know, this summer feels really different from previous summers.
In what way?
I think it hasn't felt so humid. It just feels like a lot warmer, significantly warmer. I was like in my room the other day and I felt kind of like, you know, those books about, I don't know, back in colonial days.
Oh, yeah. And just living in an
really
oppressive
warm
heat.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I was thinking the same thing, actually, because, you know, it was kind of cool up until this week, really. It kind of turned on the heat. We had a long rainy season, and so summer's kind of coming at us a little strong. But I was taking a walk around, enjoying the sound of the cicadas, and really feeling like, okay, this is summer. And I have to say, I'm enjoying it. I don't know about you, but I'm glad that summer is here. And for better or worse, I'm kind of in summer mode right now.
Yeah, definitely. I am too. And so I did bring a painting today that sort of suited that feeling of summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it kind of a cheerful painting or just a very hot, oppressive painting?
Oh, no, not an oppressive one, no. It's really happy, and so we're returning to the French Impressionists this week, and we're going to be looking at sort of a celebration of the freedom that came with modernization. And, you know, people came out to chat, sit, eat, and drink, and of course dance around, dilly-dally their time away under the sunny Sunday afternoon. So I'm going to paint the scene for you now.
All right.
A crowd of people are dressed in their Sunday best under the bright afternoon sunlight passing through the leaves of acacia trees at an outdoor cafe and dance hall. Toward the back is the large open entrance to the indoor establishment, and some green trees are lined up around it. It's much darker in there in contrast to the bright and vibrant outdoor scene. In the foreground are a couple of long benches, and on the right bench is a woman wearing a beautiful striped dress, engaging in a dialogue with a man seated on a table whose back is facing us. The sunlight hitting his jacket has made it polka-dotted in warm pink hues. Another woman is standing over the seated woman to join in their conversation and has her hand over the shoulder of the woman in the striped dress. And to the right at the end of the table are two other men. The scene is packed with small social groups. You see a young girl looking up at her mother, a man leaning on a tree to whisper into the ear of a woman who is facing away, and then the face of a boy between the man and the woman turning his head to look at them as if he had been eavesdropping. Your eyes wander from one group to the next, discovering new details and new interactions, all captured with the loose brush strokes, as if the artist was just as carefree as the people relaxing and enjoying their afternoon under the sun. On the left side of the scene is a dance floor. Women are in fashionable dresses that swing around as they lean into their male partners, wearing suits and top hats, leading to the rhythm. Above them are chandeliers hanging from the trees, but the sunlight passing through the leaves provide their own daytime speckled lighting, dazzling to the eyes. It's like the sun is playing tricks, picking up vibrant pinks, baby blues, ochres, a kaleidoscope of colors in loose brushstrokes from the mostly white or navy garments of the dancers.
Well, you did a wonderful job painting that scene, just like the artist himself. Who are we talking about today?
So if you haven't been able to guess yet, we are talking about Pierre Auguste Renoir. And he painted this scene called Dance at le Moulin de la Galette, which is a windmill.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Moulin means windmill. Yeah. And it included this outdoor area where people could eat and dance and enjoy. This painting is an oil-on-canvas painting from 1876. And there are actually two copies of it. There's a larger one that's about 130 centimeters by 175 centimeters. Mm-hmm. And then there's a smaller one with much looser brushstrokes, but people don't know which one was actually painted first.
Oh, well, it is a really amazing painting. When you think about all of those brush strokes and just the intention that went in behind capturing such a very wonderful summer scene, it is hard to, it's, I guess, something about just encapsulating the energy. It does have a feeling, almost a timeless feeling, really, of being outdoors in the summer. I mean, we do that nowadays. There's still people that enjoy being outdoors and having some events. Maybe not exactly nowadays, but he really does a great job of kind of bringing to life a scene or a Sunday afternoon in Paris.
Yeah, and he's so good at capturing the warmth of the sun, just the way that he uses colors and, the speckled lighting that I was talking about. Mm-hmm. It reminded me, I heard somewhere that photographers, they like to move to Los Angeles just for the LA sun.
Oh, really?
Because that quality that the sunlight captures and the colors that it brings, you can't get that elsewhere in the world.
Well, I believe it. I've been to LA. It's a very, very sunny place, and it's something that's kind of unique when you think about, and, it is sunny in LA all the time, but because it's limited here in France, it's almost a little more special that we only get so many days of these kind of sunny summer days.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that, Renoir, he's known for making these really joyful, happy paintings. And he liked paintings that were optimistic and it depicted the more, prosperous side of modernism, but not everyone was a fan of him because of this. People liked, the more sort of edgy painters like Degas or Manet, who had something more social to say, social commentary to make. And Renoir was part of the Impressionists, and he was part of the founders. So he continued to make these happy scenes, oftentimes painting people.
Well, he does an amazing job painting people. And in this particular painting, I think it's an understatement about how many people are actually here, because it is really hard to count the large crowds that's involved in this painting.
Yeah, I mean, I can't count all the tiny heads, but I would say at least over 50 people are in this painting. And it's, like you said, it's very, very ambitious. There are so many faces going on here. And portraiture, people don't really paint portraits outside, but what he's doing here is he's making a plein air style painting, which means he's doing it on the scene as it's happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can kind of feel that. I think that's one of the only ways you can get it, but obviously this work takes so long. I don't know how he was able to capture all of this at the time and just keep it fresh in his mind. I wonder if he had like a very strong memory to be able to, really, it's the faces, right? Like he's capturing these very intimate expressions on each face.
Yeah, well, there are two sides to this. Like you said, it's quite impressive, and, Impressionists did like to make plein air paintings, but usually what they did was they would capture things like nature, where you can just sort of, give hints of leaves. You don't have to paint the face of a leaf or anything like that, right? Or, they would even paint maybe a cathedral like Monet liked to do as well. But here it's quite unusual because he's not only painting a portrait, but a portrait of so many people. And the other key to this is that a lot of the key figures, the figures that are up front, are actually people he knows. So he's familiar with their faces.
I believe it because they're, I don't know, it's a mix of being very detailed, but at the same time almost vague. And you did mention that there were two of these paintings. So I wonder if each painting held different expressions of the people inside of them.
That's a great question. I don't know. Well, I think what I really like about this painting is he's not just capturing a pretty scene, but he's capturing a scene that he's very much a part of. So the social circles, the interactions, like these are all stories of characters who have meaning in his life. And I just want to mention a few of the people. For example, the woman in the striped dress that I mentioned earlier, she is actually one of his favorite, the sister of one of his favorite models. The sister is actually leaning over on her. So the lady who's leaning over, her name is Jeanne Samary, and then her sister is Estelle. And across from them, sitting also on that table on the right side, is someone named Georges Rivière, who was a writer, and he wrote about Renoir and Renoir's models in a book titled Renoir and His Friends. Because for Renoir, it was all about painting his friends.
Well, it can definitely tell you put them in the foreground of the painting, but also probably at the time he was actually there. They were talking, they were having a good time, and he almost just kind of, just like a picture, captured a moment where everyone, I mean, just looking, you can stare endlessly at these faces because you're not sure if the sister is, you know, kind of happy or a little upset. I don't know how you feel about that. It does seem like everyone's having a good time. And I'm really interested in, you know, the writer, though, because he's a little mysterious in this.
Yeah, he really is. And a lot of these people he has named in his book. So, for example, on the left side, you see the woman who is dancing with the large pale pink dress. Mm-hmm. She's dancing with another man. She is actually Renoir's lover.
Oh, really? That is interesting. A little scandalous, though, because she's dancing with a guy who's not Renoir, obviously. I don't know if he ever put himself in his paintings, but that is not him. But that guy looks like a pretty dapper gentleman, though.
Yeah, he is. And what's funny is that she was actually thought that, so he is a Cuban painter, and she thought he was kind of boring, so she wanted to teach him how to have a good time.
Oh, so he was, her job was kind of to go and loosen him up. At the same time, he still looks a little stiff. I just wonder if there was any jealousy there, because as far as goes with Renoir, he looks like he's actually maybe a little, I don't know, he's making the guy look like stiff as a board still.
Yeah, he does look stiff. It's funny, and I think those little moments that you know continue to notice of the similar, the minute interactions that they're having, the things that you might have not have noticed on the first take, those things make these little vignettes very special. And also, this is a very sort of urban way to paint, because at this time, the middle class, they like to come out and they like to spend their time together, you know, trying to socialize and have fun and just really enjoy themselves. And this place, Le Moulin de la Galette, is representative of that, because Parisians who were seeking entertainment, they would come here and get a glass of wine and bread made from the flour that's ground in the windmill. And so this is just a moment of what it was like to spend the summers there. So it's almost, I feel like it's almost like an autobiographical moment of what he likes to do on his Sundays.
Well, you know, I didn't know anything about that windmill actually being used to make the wine and the bread, but that just makes it all more lovely. As some place that I definitely want to go. And the fact that they're hanging chandeliers from trees is a very, very Parisian move. You know, overall, though, this painting just has a vibrancy and I guess so many details that you can get lost in these stories. You know, each person kind of tells their own tale.
Yeah, and so Renoir said about this time, quote, "The world knew how to laugh in those days. Machinery had not observed all of life. You had leisure for enjoyment, and no one was the worse for it." And I think he is just tapping into that side of when France was going through its industrialization at the time. Mm-hmm. The side of just enjoying yourself and enjoying the pleasures in life as well. And I think it really it pairs really well with the style of painting he's making, because he is making these really beautiful, colorful scenes, right? And the brushstrokes, they're not very well defined.
Yeah. Okay,
It's almost like they're fleeting, like the moment is fleeting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because he had to paint it so quickly, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But also this is what characterizes Impressionist painters. So a key writer who is also a critic of Impressionism, Baudelaire, talked about Impressionism, saying that it's all about modernity and seeking that quality of modern life that the spectator wants to seek. And it is, quote, the ephemeral, the fugitive, the contingent, the half of art whose other half is eternal, and the immutable. And just to break this down a little bit, the classical art was all about immortalizing people and stories through art, whereas Impressionists, they just wanted to capture that feeling, the feeling that's here right now, but then gone forever. So it's just like the first impression of what's going on right now. And this was captured through all the loose brushstrokes and, just the feeling of being under the sunlight, a feeling of being around your friends and meeting new people. And I think that the way that he is painting goes so well with what he is painting.
I definitely agree with you. It is a wonderful painting, and I want to thank you again for bringing us a Renoir. I hope that we can get to more of him, because he just seems like a guy who knows how to capture a good time, have a good time, and I'd love to explore some more art maybe next week. All right, we'll see you then.
I'll talk to you next week.